The American presidents were people like you and like me, or at least that's how the founders intended them to be. Hi, my name's Teddy Ebby. Welcome back to my reoccurring segment where we're talking about the nicknames of the US presidents both past and present. Last time, we finished up the negative nicknames of the first man to come into the White House after the death of his predecessor, John Tyler. And while we talked about his negative nicknames, today we're going to be talking about his successor, James K. Polk, and his three most popular positive nicknames. Polk was one of those presidents who entered the office with a bullet point plan, accomplished everything, and retired after one term in office like, all right, I'm done.
You see, I get things done.
Therefore, his positive nicknames reflect that kind of ambition, discipline, and Jacksonian inheritance that defined his term in office. And speaking of Jackson, he is directly responsible for James K. Polk's first most popular positive nickname, calling him Young Hickory. During his term, several presidents prior, Andrew Jackson was referred to as Old Hickory. This was to highlight his stubbornness, strength, and determination in office. And Polk earned the nickname Young Hickory as a sort of tribute to his ideological mentor. Polk was a protege of the 7th US president, a Jacksonian Padawan of sorts.
The Force is powerful, my young Padawan.
Polk championed limited government, expansion of the executive branch, hostility towards the banks, and an almost militant urge to expand the United States territorially.
You think let's make it bigger?
These were all political ideologies that Jackson himself advocated for, and not only that, Jackson personally mentored and supported Polk as he rose throughout Tennessee politics. So the nickname of Young Hickory kind of denotes this familial connection, as well as a younger, energetic continuation of the Jacksonian ideology.
I'm younger than you, I'm better looking than you.
But it was never assured that Polk would win, as seen in negative nickname number 2, where he was called the Dark Horse President. Polk really was the first presidential elect who was an underdog throughout the entire campaign. He really was a candidate who was so unexpected and so obscure that when he did get elected, many people were like, who? This is because the political period after John Tyler was chaotic to say the least. You see, the political party that John Tyler had been kicked out of was in complete collapse. Booting the President of the United States from your own party kinda does that to you. And it should have been natural for the party across the aisle to succeed in the next election, hands down. But the Democratic Party in the convention of 1844 was a divided party. But as political factions within the party vied for power, James K. Polk rose from the ashes and emerged as the presidential candidate for the Democratic Party. But unlike many other dark horse candidates in history, Polk didn't flounder. He accomplished every single one of his campaign promises with eerie efficiency, charging through the presidential office like a dark horse.
Is there a dark horse candidate out there for the Democrats?
But he charged in and charged right back out again 4 years later. And that earned him his third most popular positive nickname, the One-Term Wonder. At the beginning of his presidency, Polk vowed to serve only one term. And that kind of announcement of a political deadline hadn't come out of the White House since the likes of George Washington saying that he would only go 2 terms. Now we had a president only going 1. Most politicians are ambitious strivers, and that can come back to bite them in the butt when they make promises they end up not being able to keep. Looking at you, George Herbert Walker Bush.
Raise taxes and I'll say no, and they'll push and I'll say no, and they'll push again and I'll say to them, read my lips.
Polk, instead, was a man with a checklist, and he crammed almost a decade's worth of geopolitical change into 4 short years. He didn't waste time considering which steps to make and what implications they may have for his next re-election. Man had a checklist. He just put his nose to the grindstone and got to work. When his time came, he left the office willingly, upholding his promise, as he should. You might be thinking, Teddy, you framed this man as a historical hero, and perhaps I have, but even the most illustrious of presidents screwed up. James K. Polk sure did. My name's Teddy Ebby. Thank you very much for watching, and join me next time when we talk about James K. Polk's 3 most popular negative nicknames.